Oh. And hello everybody! Welcome back to It Came From the Backlog. Today I am joined by the man who never stops typing, who is always coding the latest pulp fiction that you can play, Alec, also known as Renegade Sector Games.
Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
Not bad, not bad.
Today, for our first game, we're kicking things off with the Chameleon.
Nice. I've been wanting to check this one out for a while.
There's apparently an orientation film in this
I'm
game.
Dr. F, Chief of Blue Knight Research.
Yeah.
Welcome to the orientation film for the Blue Knight Research. As a member of the LRS, you'll be expected to keep everything you see here confidential.
Oh, there we
The
go.
facility has been set up to conduct science experiments for the benefit of mankind. During your stay, you'll be studying the native flora. We hope that your research is productive and helps us lead humanity into a new era of peace. The Age of Aquarius. You will enjoy all the comforts and amenities you expect from a state-of-the-art facility like the LRS. We even hope you can join us for Taco Tuesday at our own restaurant on the roof. Its quality is unheard of. Now, let me introduce you to the Global Unified Advanced Research Defense System, or GUARD system. Our trusted guards are here to protect you from We have set up the guards to make sure you enjoy your stay healthy. They will not attack humans.
Taco Tuesday restaurant on
the
the
LRS and our science team. Thank you.
Oh, this is a really strong opening.
Yeah, this is... I can't imagine how long he must have been digging to find all this stock footage.
Oh yeah.
Evacuate the facility. Evacuate the facility. Evacuate the facility.
I love that walk animation though. That is a strut.
Evacuate the facility.
There's a man who says, F around, find out.
Evacuate the facility. Evacuate the facility. Evacuate the facility.
We see everything. Oh, so the guards aren't actually like humans or anything.
Yeah, I really like that this game just throws you right into it.
Yeah, this is some straight up Half-Life 1 tier. Oh dear. Run away! Oh dear, there's that amorphous blob. I cannot use the valve. This door opens somewhere else. I don't think that blob has our best intentions at heart. The Foley work is solid too. Oh yes, that reminds me. Let me get my phone set up so I can see the chat nice and clear. Yes, Jason, we are clearly playing Chad Chaddington. I mean, look at that. I mean, he's got the Hawaii 5-0 mustache and everything. That said, he has absolutely no ass. So, you know, that's his weak point.
They didn't have the polygons to render asses yet.
No, they did not. They had to invent how to render butts. Oh, okay, there's a map. Alright, you are here. Oh, so we have to go through the blob.
Approach the blob.
That is very concerning. while I approach the blob, Alec, would you like to tell the kind folks watching what all it is that you have been working on as an indie developer?
Sure. So, for those who don't know what I do, I am primarily a solo developer. I make sort of small, what I would describe as pulpy games. They tend to be science fiction or fantasy, and usually with relatively short playtimes. And I work in a low poly style, much like this game we're playing now. Sort of reminiscent of the PlayStation 1, N64, Sega Saturn era. My most recent game, or my most recent new game, was Escape from Terror City, which is a kind of 3D run and gun, sort of inspired by things like Sin and Punishment. And I am currently working on the third episode of an episodic series that I've been working on for quite some time called Space Captain McCallery, which is a series of pulp science fiction action adventure games where you play as a space pirate captain, and in each episode you travel to a different planet and go on an adventure, usually in search of treasure. Although this time you're looking to find a new member for your crew. And that is currently nearing completion, actually. I'm currently in sort of the just get everything polished and fitting together stage of development.
Yeah, you've been working on Space Captain McCallery for a while now. I remember back, it was a couple of years when the first episode rolled out.
Yeah, and actually I've been working on it for longer than that, because the first of the current run is actually kind of a remake of a game I made almost a decade, or more than a decade ago now. I made a bunch of 2D versions of the series, and when I started shifting into 3D, it was a series that was very sort of, it was something I really wanted to explore more in a more polished and sort of put together manner. So I decided to just start the series over as a 3D game.
Excited to see how episode 3 comes together. That's to say, it's like, I remember when you were first telling me about all the stuff that you'd worked on over the years, and like when you started with like the micro games, you put out like, what was it, like 30 of those?
Well, let's see. Like when I was doing 2D games, I have actually lost count of how many of them I did, but when I was doing freeware and Flash games, it was probably at least 30. There was a year that I put out like 12 games, 2 of which were Space Captain McCallery episodes. But I can't really. I'm making games that take longer now, if you could believe it. So I can't really keep up that pace. But up until the last couple years, where things have slowed down a little bit for reasons everyone is probably familiar with, I was putting out 3 games a year.
Yeah, that always fascinated me. The idea of like, doing like little anthology style pieces together. It's something that you've basically one of the main people at the forefront, alongside like Puppet Combo, and just like finally showing that you can make a viable product that isn't, 80 hours open world grind and craft until your bones themselves are dust.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's both, as a developer, I want to be able to make something that is a reasonable scope that I can then, hope to actually, make a profit off of, because so many games come out that developers just put their heart and soul into, and just aren't able to reach enough of a market to justify the time investment they put into it. But aside from that, as a person who plays games, I genuinely wish there were more small, self-contained games. Because, you know, how much time do I have for massive 80-hour or even 20-hour experiences these days? You know, there are a lot of games on my Steam library that I bought because I wanted to play them, and I've got about 2 hours logged in them, and then I just kind of fell off of them. And if those games had been 2 hours long, I would have gotten a complete experience, but they weren't, so they're just kind of these unfinished things.
Yeah, that was actually even part of the motivation for us starting, you know, it came from the backlog, was just like, there's just so many games that are falling through the cracks these days. At least we get a chance to see, you know, hey, this click, is this something interesting? And
yeah, this is, I actually do this sort of thing myself with my own backlog, because you know, a while back I had gathered up a pretty large backlog just through sales and bundles and stuff, and eventually I was just like, all right, I'm gonna put an hour into each of these games that I have yet to touch. Although oftentimes that hour looked a lot more like 30 or 40 minutes, depending on the game. But you know, it's nice to just at least play enough of it to get the idea.
definitely.
Evacuate the facility. Evacuate the facility.
Oh, interesting. So you can't cloak and take out enemies at the same time.
Evacuate the facility. Evacuate the facility.
I think they want us to evacuate the facility.
Evacuate the facility.
That seems likely.
Let's see. Guard storage, control room, exit, advanced storage. That must be the Marie Kondo section.
Do these guards spark joy?
Well, they do literally spark, so...
Oh, that's something.
Definition. Whoa. Okay, it's a lot bigger in here than I thought. Okay, he's not actually coming over here. I can look.
Yeah, nothing's more anxiety-inducing in a stealth game to enter a large space.
The lighting here is gorgeous.
Yeah, this game as a whole just has such a phenomenal look to it. I mean, this is one of those things where, you know, I love the low poly style. Obviously, that's what I work in, and I really enjoy seeing it because it's easy to use that as just a sort of nostalgia thing of just like I want to make a game look like the games I played as a kid. But I really think that the sort of next step of that is to see what else you can do with it. I mean, much like pixel art games. You know, the early pixel art games were very much trying to create an authentic 16-bit look or an 8-bit look, as the case might be. But I think what, you know, as time went on and that style was explored and expanded, you know, it is figuring out what you can do with that look, not restrained by the limitations of the past. Because I think it's a valid style, even taking it out of the context of looking like a thing from the past.
Oh yeah.
And I think this game does a really good job of that, because like this sort of lighting stuff is not something you would see on a PlayStation 1 game.
Oh gosh, no. Just the lighting on those boxes alone would like break a PS1.
Yeah. And it looks great. Like you can blend those styles, and it looks great. And I think that there's a lot of interesting space to explore in that.
The timing is also like Marlino guided to being a serious nail biting thing anytime you actually cloaked. I'd also say controls, they definitely are very nice and tight, they're responsive. Like, it would have been so easy to just make this be like a tank control situation, but this handles really smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. That. Ah! No! Curses! Electrocuted again! I do appreciate that the enemies don't have a ranged attack, though. They have to get up close to you. There's a small window to escape.
Yeah, they just have the advantage of being able to move very quickly.
Do me proud here, Austin. Judo chop! Okay. There's nothing over. It's all nutrients and vitamins out here. Ooh, he is pissed. Out of curiosity, have you ever tried making a stealth game?
Yes and no. I've never made a pure stealth game or even a unpure stealth game. I have incorporated some stealth mechanics, mainly in a game I made a while back, back before I was primarily working in 3D, which was Ninja Outbreak.
Oh yeah.
The enemies in that have a basic sort of stealth game style state machine where they have patrol paths, and then if they spot you, they'll start investigating, and then if they spot you for longer, they will become hostile. But it was never really designed. I never really designed that game for stealth to be a particularly viable option. It was more that you can try to stealth part of the way through a level, and eventually you're probably going to get caught, but you can get yourself into a more advantageous position by at least trying to be stealthy for a while.
I get you.
But it is a survival horror game at its heart, so I didn't want stealth to be a complete tactic. So you're not given the sort of information that you're generally given in a stealth game.
Yeah, more like being able to be stealthy for a bit in Halo Combat Evolved than, say, The Evil Within, where it's just like, I'm just going to stab everyone in the back of the head.
Yeah, and there was no stealth takedown mechanic or anything like that. It was you can avoid combat for a while, but once you enter combat, you're in.
I did always actually want to ask, why a ninja infection? What inspired?
Okay, so I have there's a few parts to that answer. One of them is I am a big fan of the movies of sort of Z-grade schlock director Godfrey Ho, who was a Hong Kong action movie director slash sort of. He also ran like a dubbing studio, and he has over 100 movies to his name listed on IMDb, and most of those were just from the 80s. And the way he got to that number was he would just take footage from unreleased movies, usually Southeast Asian, Korean, sometimes Chinese. Then he would edit in new footage, usually with white actors, to reach a Western audience. And he would just cut and paste these movies together, and they very often involved ninjas, often very brightly colored ninjas. And they have such a distinctive style and tone that they almost form their own like mythos. This has been a thing that has influenced me in a lot of my games. You'll see nods to Godfrey Ho in many of my games. The Cold Vengeance, Venusian Vengeance, Ninja Outbreak, Kill the Super Weapon. So I had actually used the setting of this Ninja Overrun laboratory as a twist. Spoilers for one of my own games, but as a twist at the end of Venusian Vengeance. It's a very sort of arcade run and gun sort of game with very little plot, but the plot it does have is setting up that something went wrong in the laboratory, and it's kind of building up like zombies or something. But then you get there and it's ninjas. Very sort of just tongue-in-cheek 80s action sort of fare. A little while after making that game, I had started writing this sort of series of, articles on my website about level design and sort of the way I view how to conceptualize and plan out levels. And a lot of the things I was writing in that just got me in the headspace of wanting to make a survival horror game, just because survival horror is a genre that really takes advantage of a lot of the things that, a lot of the ideas I was talking about in those articles, sort of building levels around scarcity of resources and using those resources to kind of guide the player around into situations and encounter design and all of that. So I wanted to make a survival horror game, but I'm actually personally not the biggest fan of horror. So I wanted to make a survival horror game that didn't rely on... I wanted to make a survival horror game that was tense without having to rely on sort of horror genre tropes.
Yeah.
Like I wanted the scares to entirely come out of the level design. So I intentionally went with something that was kind of goofy, and reused that setting of the Ninja Overrun lab from Venusian Vengeance, and decided like if I can sell this as a survival horror game, then I'll have done my job. And I don't know if I did my job, but I'm very proud of that game regardless. It is very much a game that only I would have made. I don't think that game would exist if I didn't make it.
Sorry, that got a little tense there for a second. I'm trying to figure out what I need to do to make the electric field disengage. And to answer your question, Jason, we don't entirely know the premise. All we know is that we're playing as a scientist, and he's developed an ability to mimic other beings. And on top of that, there's robot guards who keep trying to electrocute us. And apparently we're judging by the various notes I've found so far, the robots were getting weird around Dr. F. I'm assuming that's, a family name. Apparently Dr. F just has been setting the guards off for a while now. Okay. I feel like there's going to be like some kind of jump ability we're going to get, but I'm not sure how we're going to get it. Because there didn't seem to be anything else back in the other area. Oh! You can lean!
Leaning is important.
Yep, gotta stretch.
Gotta keep limber if you're gonna sneak around glowing eye guys.
Oh dear. So it seems if you knock one out, another one will try to awaken them, but if multiple of them are knocked out, they can't do that. Okay. So if you time it right, you can be somewhat effective, but now they're more alert as a result as well.
That's something that I think is really interesting about stealth game design, that if I were to ever make a stealth game, is the main thing I would want to explore, is that stealth games are all about maintaining sort of the level of chaos within the game state. In that, you know, if you play a stealth game perfectly, you and by perfectly I mean, you know, never become noticed, don't you know, interrupt guards patterns, just sort of sneak by like a ghost, you end up you know, not affecting the game systems in any significant way, which I think is interesting, but also it means that stealth games usually have a lot of really interesting emergent gameplay systems in them, which then never really come out if you are playing the game optimally. The stealth games become more interesting the worse you play them.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, the better you play them, as long as you don't care about playing them optimally. So like, someone who's really good at Metal Gear Solid can, you know, distract guards and run around and be noticed but not make the guards alert, and sort of abuse the guards' AI to do interesting things. But a person playing a stealth game for the first time will generally try to minimize their impact on the game systems, which means that all this interesting design stuff just never really materializes unless they make a mistake. And I would be really interested in a stealth game that either makes that sort of play impossible, or makes it impractical, or finds some way to increase the sort of chaos state of the game, regardless of if the player gets noticed.
Okay, I think I missed that one round, so let's try down this way. There is one game that comes to mind a little bit, in that it definitely doesn't let you skirt around at least some of the stuff that you have to do. And it's gonna be an odd one. But perchance, have you can I actually outrun it long enough? Nope. Man, yeah, now he was determined. He's like, no! You have effed around, and now you are finding out. Also, hello, Horror King. Welcome to the stream. We're currently watching me be electrocuted repeatedly. But, yeah, 007 Legends was, it's unique in that it didn't always try to have linear levels, but even in the more open-ended sections, it made it just a genuine inconvenience. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Why does this guy have it out for me? Oh, it's just his patrol pattern. Okay.
That's actually interesting, because I do think that a lot of the times stealth can be most interesting in non-stealth games. You know, games where you can stealth, but it's not really the main way you're supposed to get through the game, and it's more of a stealth up until you can get to a ideal position.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, stealth as long as you can to get a little advantage for the inevitable firefight.
Yeah, that's definitely how I would describe a lot of the best sections in... There we go. Vengeance. Yeah, with 007 Legends, like, they have some really neat ways of making the, like, all the different stuff you're talking about with stealth for the give you an advantage, diegetic, but also a disadvantage. Like, instead of like a traditional heads-up display, you have to look intentionally at your watch and keep an eye on them and track them. And then if you actually want to do anything, you have to engage directly. All of the stealthier options are powerful, but minimized. Like, you've got a couple darts with your pen and stuff like that, but you don't have a ton. So it really hammers home that whole idea of making the most out of limited resources and knowing that inevitably at some point something is going to go wrong.
Yeah, I like that sort of stuff. And also the point you mentioned about the watch. I think one problem that a lot of stealth games have that it looks like this one doesn't, from what I've seen so far, is a lot of stealth games will just give you way too much information. Think about, if you're playing Metal Gear Solid 1, how much of the time are you actually looking at the screen of the game, and how much time are you looking at the Soliton radar?
Yeah.
And it basically becomes like, it's with how it is optimal to play Metal Gear Solid 1, you're not really playing a 3D game, you're playing a Vectrex game.
Yeah, you're still just playing Metal Gear 2, just in shiny 3D in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I like the Metal Gear Solid games, but I think that as they start to go further in the series, they try to move away from that in various ways to, various levels of success. But something I appreciate here is I don't see any sort of radar, I don't see vision cones, and it looked like you had to find maps in the environment to check a map.
Oh yeah,
which
I
is
have to.
really neat.
Oh yeah, that's just it. Like, this is so. The only thing that I am allowed to see is my energy meter, and even then, they actually display that on the character with how pale and discolored you are. So I fully can imagine that. Realistically, while the energy meter there is nice to see, I would be actually pretty okay if it was just like you just saw the meter grow, like a meter grow a bit bigger temporarily and then fade out again whenever you acquire an energy cluster.
Yeah.
That is a lot of squelching. I am concerned. And
I mean, I really like that the way they deal with maps in this game, because I mean this is a sort of pet issue of mine in general, is that how much are you navigating by the space and how much are you navigating by the mini map, and having the map be something you have to find within the space and check, and then sort of you can get your bearings, but at the end of the day you have to navigate by looking around and making a mental map of where you are.
Indeed. And thankfully, by actually having a map, it also avoids the problem of, like, old Raven Software games where it's like, oh gosh, I have no idea where I am and I'm going to use NoClip just to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I can dash now. Okay. Uh-oh. There's another energy crystal in there. That punch is remarkably satisfying.
And they just ragdoll away.
Yeah, and I appreciate that they do like turn back on and everything. That's good. Otherwise, it would be just kind of pointless. You would just slowly whittle them away. But nah, you have to make it count. Oh, actually, I just thought of another instance of, like, the kind of stealth you're describing, but it comes in a very strange form. Of Orcs and Men, the CRPG.
Huh. I haven't played that one.
I endorse it. There's one bit of awkward terminology where they mistranslated something to sound a lot more offensive than it was supposed to, but it was by European developers, so that's where it's kind of the Bulletstorm situation there. But besides that, yeah, sticks can actually go stealthy, and it's like constantly doing like stealth rolls to decide if you're going to be successful or not. And if you are clever about it, you can easily thin out like half of the enemies in an area ahead of you, but you will still inevitably get caught and or need to engage the rest because they're just in too much of a cluster.
Oh, is this this related to Styx Master of Shadows?
That is a prequel series to it. Yeah, they
Okay, yeah, I played a bit of that a while ago. That's one of the things that was on my backlog that I played for like an hour or so.
Yeah, that's actually probably a good call with the Styx games, is like the first half is always great, but for some reason they're convinced at Cyanide that it's brilliant to reverse the latter half of your levels and just literally just reverse the order that you go through them, even though like every critic has been like or you could not or you could not, because even like people like me who love what they were coming up with, it was just like, yeah, this wasn't. They really have held themselves back a bit. But the first one, of Orcs and Men, technically takes place after, and is more like KOTOR meets Army of Two. That's also kind of Shrek as an M-rated game. Like, I'm not kidding here. It's all of those things pretty much combined.
Well, that's quite a sales pitch right there.
Whoa! Okay, so yeah, sprinting does make you go down. Ooh, I'm on fire! I wonder if when the dash burst is still going, if you're more visible. Appreciate that the dash is relatively silent, though. Gives you a mobility option. You also are getting a lot of energy really fast. Oh. Why are those two just standing together?
I really like this sort of level design right here, where you have a sort of a large space made up of smaller self-contained spaces that still have like visibility between them. It's like you're on this little platform within a larger room. That's neat.
Also, there's enemies that you can't punch, as I've now discovered. That is going to make things just a wee bit more complicated. And while dashing might be silent, apparently it does not make you invisible.
Yeah.
Really gonna need to rely on. Wait! How did he jump up there? Oh dear, and Horror King is unleashing puns. Puns! Puns in the dungeon! But as far as Little Nightmares 2, it is something that is on my to-do, Horror King. It's just not quite the first game we're looking to do for it came from the backlog. He's stuck up there now! Oh my gosh, between respawns he got stuck up there. So now he's an accidental security camera.
Been demoted to security camera.
He did such a good job that they punished him for it. And I ran that energy right as he was... It's a very accessible game, but it is still happy to kick you in the crotch whenever it gets the opportunity.
I mean that's the best sort of difficulty is when it's easy to get into, but uses that as a way to get into the difficult stuff. The easier the game is to approach, the more room there is for making it difficult.
Oh, good. Yes. Give me energy. Yay. Okay, the guard storage is open. Now I just need to get back out of here. You know, I just realized that really, the way they layered this whole thing out, it's like it's essentially dynamic difficulty options just for this room, because this one route is just one guard, realistically. Just a matter of avoiding him, but you have to be observant to catch that.
Yeah, I think that's I wonder if there's stuff you could have gotten up on the higher path to sort of have a trade-off there.
Actually, let me check that map real quick.
Yeah, spaces like that are interesting because you can do that sort of. I mean, that's like what the old Sonic the Hedgehog games are built off of, is having an upper path and a lower path, having sort of the dynamic difficulty through that.
There is supposed to be something over this way, so I do want to try and... Oh, there was another one back here. Okay. Nothing to see here. I am robot. Chemical storage. There's another energy chamber. I do also appreciate the restraint to not have guards double back straight away. There's always a 90-degree turn.
Yeah, I mean that's something I feel like you have to do in a stealth game, unless you telegraph it really well that they're going to turn around. Because I think there's very few ways to not make that feel cheap. To have a guard just turn 180.
Okay, I think I have one more example, but it actually would probably be the hardest one to play now. On the Vita, however you want to carve it. There was this one little launch game, Unit 13. Like, basically nobody at release cared about it, even though it was by one of the SOCOM teams. But it had this really neat approach to, like... The easiest way to describe it is almost like, what if you combined SOCOM and Warframe with a splash of Splinter Cell conviction? So, like you're saying, again, it's like, stealth was super hard. There was one character specifically built for it, but as a result, he was terrible at everything else. But every environment was essentially made to be a small sandbox, rather than just a tube that you shoot people through. And they'd even work in, like, secondary objectives. And it had some interesting approaches to, like, the risk-reward of that. And occasionally you'd have a specifically don't get detected mission or what have you, but a lot of it was just purely optional. But it was actually so satisfying. It was hard for me to indulge in like the all-out bombast options, because it's like, but I could just sneak in and no one would even know I'm there.
I think another game that did stealth as a setup for combat rather than a replacement for combat was Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Because it was very much like, you are stealthy, pick the most, the most dangerous targets within there to take out before the firefight begins. Because the firefight will begin, just you have a chance to get some sort of tactical advantage before then.
Definitely. Yeah, I think the only, really, out of all of its levels, the only one I would call a hard stealth level would maybe be Most of the Moon, and that was, intentional by design.
Yeah. And I mean, when you have a stealth system in a game like that, you do have the option of then having a bit of it be all stealth. Shifting it one way or the other.
Create the future of mankind includes a transcript of his pivotal 1969 speech at the UN. Oh, computer. We can actually see. From JT to admin. I've deployed all armored and enhanced vision guards to the main LRS area. There are none left for the warehouse, so we'll have to do with normal guards. Oh, great. So there's more advanced guards just waiting around the corner. It's like, oh, you thought these things were trying to kill you. Mandatory sterilization week? Products from home, order now. Computer tennis tournament. A new state-of-the-art electronics TV games set. If you see a floating blob, do not touch it. The science team has terrible safety protocols. It is most likely a piece of lunite that has floated away.
Touch the blob.
We ask all warehouse workers, and specifically guard storage personnel, to follow these new and enhanced procedures to ensure our safety around guards. Do not leave orange cones around the base. Their sound messes with guard sensors and confuses them. The unit might then turn aggressive. If you have recently handled lunite food or any lunite materials, we ask that you immediately sterilize your clothes and self before being in the vicinity of any guard. Recent experiments by our science team have created the need to recalibrate the guard lunite sensors for more accurate risk detection. The chameleon is real.
I like the idea that knocking over the cones, it's not that it alerts the guards. It just makes the sound of cones falling over makes the guards go berserk. They just hate it.
This is were these guards provided by Freddy Fazbear? Because it feels like they were. For no reason is the science team allowed in or near the warehouse and logistics area. If you see any member of our science community, report to security immediately, no matter who it is. Our high-ranking science team members have no authority over guard security measures. Do not follow their orders. Well, they're not that high-ranking then, are they? Our emergency system has been modified to be a one-use only. If the alarm is triggered, there's no way to turn it off. Well, that's not good. Let's get a drink of water. Delicious. Do not talk about the June incident. What the hell? This is the weirdest cursive I think I've ever seen. Dr. F ordered guard recalibration and wants his own software uploaded. Don't do until authorized by JTM. I'm starting to think we're not maybe playing as the good guy in this. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm starting to think that he's called Dr. F for Dr. F around and find out. Wow. There are a lot of these things. Is there... No! Curses! I know. Well, I learned what that question mark was about. The park. Is that the one that ties into World of Darkness, Horror King? I think I've seen like pictures of it. It's like there's like some sort of like demonic looking squirrel in the cover. I haven't played it, but I am aware of it. Oh damn, I just realized something they actually managed to pull off here that's kind of impressive in its own right. Ah! No, I just made my point with that, is like, by making your energy increase, but every single time you punch, it does the same amount of damage. That means every time you punch, the more energy you acquire, the less useful it is to actually use that punch, because you're sacrificing all kinds of other tactical options.
Right, yeah. Yeah, the punch starts as a, well, not a get-out-of-jail-free card, but a one of the more useful options, and then as the game goes on, it makes stealth more and more, or sticking to stealth more and more of a viable, or preferable solution.
Whoa, that's that wasn't on the map. How are we doing for time here? Still make sure we stay on schedule. Alright, we got a few more minutes left.
Alrighty.
Then we'll be diving into Yaiba.
Nice. I have been, I suppose, somewhat morbidly curious about that game for quite a while.
It was hard to track down, because, like, it never goes on sale on Steam, and, I managed to find, like, one seller in the UK on eBay who was like, okay, I'll sell it to you for, like, 13 bucks. It's like, this is the cheapest this is probably gonna get. That is new! Now we have got Daleks!
Uh-oh.
And it doesn't follow a normal oh my gosh! I am heckin' concerned. Hello, James! Yes, I think Dark Acid Trip is a very good way to describe it. Something purple that way. Oh, no, no, no! This is not the droid you're looking for. In fact, you're already a droid, so you shouldn't be looking for anything. Ooh. That wall's sealed. I wonder if I can punch it open. I'll find out later! Yes! Okay, wow. There's a lot of Super Metroid going on in this. Ah, and there's the broken section that we couldn't get into from the other side. Wow. You know, it's not being an explicit Metroidvania, but I can see a lot of inspiration going on here.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you've been getting powers from those blobs.
Oh no.
But I mean, that's another thing that I think you know, I hope to see more indie games doing is making games that take cues from Metroidvanias without being explicitly Metroidvanias. Because that's the direction that a lot of you know, games in the late '90s, early 2000s took. You know, things like Metal Gear Solid and the Resident Evil games had what was essentially a Metroidvania structure, but you know, altered and obfuscated enough that it didn't really feel like a Metroidvania. It just felt like a sort of natural series of design decisions to guide you through the game.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a lot of indie Metroidvanias, and they're great, but you know, I want to see more people be weird with it.
Yeah, some variety is always good.
Use the ideas without sticking to the formula.
Oh, the faucet turns on. That's adorable. Oh, so that cluster is not intentional. That's the AI glitching. Okay. I was like, it's just there's this Dalek.
Just the hangout zone.
I'm just going to, in my head, I'm just canonizing that as the robots are all arguing.
Just go in chameleon mode and walk up to them and be like, "Hey guys, what's up? What are we talking about?"
Oh. Well, I did half of that. I thought I lost him. I love that the rest are still standing there like, what's Dave Butt on about?
What's his problem?
Okay, so there's the exit terminal. That's what we need to get to. Okay. Alright, well, I think we're going to call here. I don't think we're going to get to the next section before being done, but yeah, the Chameleon. It's really neat. It's on Steam, and the developer behind it is now working on an actual direct Metal Gear Solid tribute. So I'm really curious.
Yeah, I've been seeing gifs of that on Twitter. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm definitely gonna have to give this a try myself as well.
Indeed. All right, we will be right back in just a minute. And we're back with Yaiba. Yaiba. I will get that right eventually. I will stop saying that the wrong way at some point. And wow.
I mean, it is kind of a description of the game from what I've understood.
Yeah.
Bye.
Alright, so yes, you are playing this game as a cyber ninja who gets killed by the main protagonist of the core Ninja Gaiden games, and now he's out to kill Ryu Hayabusa, and lots of zombies on the way. There may or may not be an elaborate joke about panties, according to one of the previews that I read before this game even released.
Good. How could this game possibly be bad?
The one thing I'm going to do, though, because I do know one person who's played it, is he very much recommended there are some difficulty spikes that just happen completely at random, because this game did not have an easy QA cycle, so we're going to be playing it on easy.
Alright.
And we'll be seeing if my Steam controller plays well with it.
Do you have any other costume choices there?
I know that you do eventually. I don't think we get any off the bat, but
Okay.
there's even some that you have to like use a workaround to unlock.
Huh.
I'm not sure if he was drinking or eating that, because that was a sack. No, apparently it's a jug. It's just a jug that looks like a sack. Wow, we're getting right to it. Wow, those subtitles are tiny. What is this? Subtitles for ants? I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah, like the game looks good. I remember when this game was in development, it looked good.
Neat fun fact I can actually share. There's a reason they were able to nail this art style so well. This was the look they pitched for Lost Planet 3.
Oh.
Yeah, the original Vertical Slice, I got to meet the lead voice actor a while back, and he was like, yeah, originally they were planning on doing like this whole cel-shade anime thing, and Capcom's like, no, do gritty Western. And it was like, okay.
Yeah, that was that period of Capcom where they were just trying to make Western games.
Oh, James thought you were asking if I have other clothes to wear for the stream.
Yeah, very demanding guest.
Yeah, yes, wardrobe changes and everything. We must look fabulous. Land sharks don't just land on your head by chance. A piece of metal frozen into a fist. Well, Yaiba, maybe, oil your hand just a bit.
I do like the trend in a lot of Japanese games in the past decade or so, maybe even longer than that, of just giving you weird costumes that you unlock like post-game.
Oh yeah.
And just have like, okay, here's the game that's taking itself vaguely seriously, and then you beat it and you unlock the version of the game that's just clown shoes.
Whoa. Okay. So, because of the way it's bound on the Steam controller, B is actually one of your primary attacks. It's actually a little hard to do with this. What's weird is I'm not hearing any of the voiceover. That's... Let me try and up the dialogue a little bit. Okay. There we go. Okay, so the mouse controls actually work pretty well. You're funny.
Slaughter!
I mean, literally in the first 10 seconds, I'm not displeased by any of this. That's way better than I was expecting. Although, that I'm already unlocking a bunch of achievements like its avatar, the Burning Earth, is a little concerning.
Yeah. How's the combat feel?
It's liquid fast. Like every attack
Yeah, it
you're
looks
seeing,
like it.
I clicking. That is like Arkham City levels of responsiveness. Ooh, that looked painful.
Well, aren't you a miserable piece of
Like that genuinely looks like footage of a game sped up like ×2.
Yeah, it's insane how fast it works. Wait, seriously, one of the initial enemy types is just zombies cut in half? That's a new one.
Infected torso.
Every single objective or enemy so far is a pun, and I appreciate that.
How about you telling me where I am?
Sorry, gotta leave big picture stuff to the boss. For now, your cyber retina can identify structural weaknesses. Take a peek, Ninja Man.
Are we gonna discover that this game is secretly great?
I'm starting to wonder because, like, this so far I don't have a complaint. Everything is coming fast and furious. They're not slowing anything down with unnecessary exposition. It's like Ryo Hayabusa killed you. You're pissed off. Fight Russian zombies. And we're already on to our third enemy type, and we've just begun. Ooh. Yep, and we got executions. Performance is rock solid. I'm running this at 1440 and on all the highest settings.
Oh, nice.
And admittedly, for something made for like a PS3, this looks very good.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where visual style will get you far. Because I mean, it doesn't look that technically impressive, but it's very, very stylish.
Oh my gosh, their legs will keep fighting you. They'll actually try to... Oh my goodness, it's like the reverse Dark Swordsman from Monty Python. Story piece, whatever that means. Collect 4 of each type to either increase your health or elemental armor. Alright. Yeah, I didn't notice there was an elemental thing there.
Yes, I recalibrated your neural interface and online your fine motor skills. You can actually open your hand now and pick stuff up.
Good.
The voice acting's like just the right level of cheesy. Okay, press R to grab. We've already got grapples. Yeah, this game is sparing no time. Oh my goodness. We're going to fight the helicopter by throwing rockets at it, aren't we?
I would hope so.
Yeah, this just... Ah, okay, so Q is block. You can block his minigun with your sword! That is the most beautifully done animation. Okay, yeah, we got like the Bayonetta counters. Oh. Oh my gosh. I think I finally figured out what they were doing here. They're not trying to make a Ninja Gaiden game. They're trying to make a new Ninja Blade.
I was just thinking Ninja Blade.
Because, like, all of this is so like that, and they've even got some Prince of Persia stuff going on here too. With the quick time events, that's still it's so ninja. I did not know I needed Spark Unlimited making Ninja Blade in my life, but I'm so good with this.
Yeah, taking up the banner from FromSoft.
Now, Horking, the shark is not fused to my head. He just refuses to let go. I like that the grapple attacks sometimes even literally work as an agility move, helping you zip around.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we've got perks. There's equipment, too, that you can actually alternate. Oh, I gotta stand up for a second. Legs getting a little asleep. They called it the Tempest Blade. Until Yaiba Kamikaze got his hands on it. That's a name. Now it's known as the Heartless Blade. But yeah, there's electrical, bile, and fire attacks. Oh, no, I wanted to use the perk. Okay. Ground Pound is the first perk. There's a new slam attack for nunchucks. You can execute the separated bodies. You can get your arm to open up new combos. All of this is... Yeah, this is... Why did this get bad reviews again? I'm so confused right now. Like, even the QuickTime events aren't like, you know, mashing a button in your face. They're just instinctual.
You're up high. Now what?
I didn't work it out that far in advance.
What?
Oh good, another helicopter.
Too bad. I usually need two.
Ah. Ah. Just hitting the Q button a little too short. There we go. Takes a little practice to get the timing right. The amount of enemies rendered on screen is also admittedly impressive for a 7th gen game.
Mm-hmm.
Slaughter!
You can't hear that because I know your microphone's muted, but we just had the Mortal Kombat announcer.
Oh, huh.
He just suddenly showed up and was just like, Slaughter! Oh, and now airstrikes. Okay. I feel like I'm supposed to be countering the bombs somehow, but I'm not really sure how. Ah, okay, no, it's just waiting for more enemies. Okay. You can do a finisher while another zombie grapples you.
Oh, nice.
I've been waiting for games to actually do that, to let you actually use a finisher as like a way to escape a stun lock.
Why not check a zombie at it?
Ooh, yeah, my health is taking a hit though. Ooh, and that's our first death. Whew. Yeah, going into this, I did not expect it to click together so well. This is...
Yeah, I mean, I had heard pretty much universal. I mean, insofar as I heard anything about this game, I heard people disliking it, and including the sort of people who would generally find something to enjoy about a sort of B-grade Japanese action game.
Yeah, it's... This is so weird. I feel like I'm having a Freaky Friday moment with just... Or something... It's discombobulating my word parts! Ah, just a little too soon. Getting the timing right on that is so tricky. There we go.
Slaughter! Bloodbath! Slaughter!
Yeah, they got the whole Devil May Cry announcer thing going on. It's not just for Slaughter. He does that for every time you get up to a certain hit count. Hot
Nice.
Damn. Ah. Okay, and the drop patterns are predictable. Okay. Alright, I think we're gonna be good this time. Whoa! There are infinite frames for when you're dodging, if you time it right. Okay. Between Lost Planet 3 and this, I'm starting to wonder if just, like, some segment of the game industry headed out for Spark Unlimited, because this is 2 for 2 on... At this point, I'm gonna be, I'm expecting Turning Point Fall of Liberty turns out good, too.
Why not check a zombie at it?
Okay. There we go.
Monday was right about the building collapsing.
Her name is Monday. Okay. I've heard Friday more than once, but Monday's a new one.
Not so a huge dick. I guess that made him a dickhead. Hello, my cyborg friend. I hear you are having difficulties following orders. I told him to go fuck himself.
Oh. Oh dear.
Bad taste in it. I cut the conversation short. Turns out he was only a hologram. You make me laugh, Ninja Slayer. You see, our goals aren't the same. You wish to kill the Yaiba, and he is here, somewhere, trying to contain this remarkable outbreak. I put you back together to kill him. Delganzo was still jabbering on when I left. If he was telling the truth, I'd kill Hayabusa, then kill him. If he wasn't, I'd kill him first and then Hayabusa. I didn't have a strong preference.
The lead voiceover for this game, the guy playing Yaiba is like, how to put it, it's like if Steve Bloom and Troy Baker had a baby. It's just like he's almost Joel from The Last of Us, but not quite. Oh, so you also get performance unlocks for playing through stuff. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, this is turning out to be a surprising turn of events. While I'm tearing through the zombie hordes, for those who are just now becoming acquainted with your work, what first drew you into creating indie games?
I mean, I wanted to make games in general for, you know, a long time, basically, since I was like a kid. Yeah, I studied game development at college, and that was kind of where I was exposed to indie games as an idea, because, you know, up till that point, I had always just kind of assumed, like, the path to make games was just get a job at a studio and, you know, go from there. And I was sort of coming to the realization that getting a job at a game studio does not mean you're making games. It means you're making, you know, assets for games, or making little parts of games, and maybe eventually getting into a position to make creative decisions eventually. You know, being exposed to other ways of developing games, you know, the idea that a game can be made in a small team or even as an individual person, and seeing the sort of things that were coming out of the like the TIG source scene from around the mid 2000s really kind of made me realize that, like, what I wanted out of game development was more in line with what was going on there than what was going on in the industry. Because, like, even if I had been able to get into a position to make creative decisions in the sort of AAA game industry, the types of games that they are making don't really line up with what I wanted to make. So, you know, it was always going to be a sort of contentious thing. And, you know, being able to just sort of freely make games that, however, you know, whatever I am capable of making is what I can make. And, you know, I can make things that are just have absolutely no market, like Ninja Outbreak, and just no one can stop me.
Yeah, you can embrace the full creative potential of the medium instead of worrying purely about market forces.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you know, even as an independent, you have to kind of take stuff into account as to what will sell in order to make it sustainable, but you can also make enough things that not everything has to be a hit. Which is kind of the way I approach it with, you know, making many smaller releases rather than spending 5 years on a single game. You know, each one does not in itself have to be make or break.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of my most interesting games have been ones that I made sort of in conjunction with something else I thought was going to be more popular or more successful. I mean, Ninja Outbreak being the prime example of that, because I had been working on that as kind of a side project while I was working on a game I had planned to run a Kickstarter for, which was kind of my, I'd been doing this small game stuff for a while at that point, with Flash games and freeware games, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna settle down and work on a large scale project. It was going to be this sort of spaghetti western action RPG with a lot of sort of emergent narrative things going on in it that I felt was interesting, but it was kind of the project never really quite came together, but I was banking so hard on it, and at a certain point during development, I was just like, I need an outlet for making games the way that I'm used to making games. So I started working on Ninja Outbreak, sort of intending it to be a very small project, and it also kind of ballooned out into a full game. Whereas the spaghetti western action RPG ballooned to popping and never really coalesced into anything I was happy with. And the Kickstarter for that, somewhat charitably failed, which I think is one of the best things that's happened in my career. Because if that Kickstarter had succeeded, I would still be working on that game today, most likely, long after the funds had run out.
Speaking of popping and also locking, I don't know if you can see on the stream.
Oh yeah,
Zombie is doing Thriller.
Yep.
I was just staring in awe. Like, the clown zombie was one thing, but then just spontaneously Thriller zombies.
And sometimes you gotta have your zombies do Thriller.
I would expect that in like an Easter egg, not something that you hit on the critical path, and they're just like, no. This is Yaiba, Ninja Gaiden Z.
I love that bit in God Hand where you just enter a room and all of the random enemies are just having a dance party.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I still need to get to my copy of God Hand, but
I love God Hand. I'm not sure if you would like God Hand, just from conversations we've had about game design in the past. I feel like this is the area in which it will be more my thing than your thing, but I would be interested to hear what you think of God Hand when you do get to it.
Yeah, I've always been curious. I've definitely been told that its sense of humor and that might not click with me quite the same way, and that there were some.
I mean, the sense of humor is very hit and miss in that game. I think there's some bits that I think some of the bits that were not necessarily like out and out jokes, like it's weird to say subtle for a game like that, but the quote unquote subtle bits of that game aged a lot better than the more outlandish bits for the most part.
Oh, I can believe that. Like Splatterhouse 2010, its best storytelling is how it uses finding pictures of Jen to emphasize how the protagonist's relationship with her grew over the years and all the highs and lows, and they did that with just pictures of her half dressed, and yet somehow still did that. You can never predict when it comes to games like this.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the main thing with God Hand is, it's the combat system, and it is such a. It is the opposite of this game from what I've seen of it so far, in that it is very slow. It's fast, but it's weighty and deliberate and kind of slow in the way that Dark Souls is slow.
Okay.
Where things have sort of wind up and take time. Even if they're faster than Dark Souls, it's still you're committing to actions, and they have a lot of weight to them. And I mean, of course, there's the fact that the game has tank controls, which I think is hard to get used to at first, but also very much informs the way you interact with the game, because it's very much about having to actually think of what direction you're facing enemies from and make sure you're not surrounded. Because in a game like this, you can just sort of zip back and forth and attack. Whereas in God Hand, it's very much like, you know, you have the enemy you're fighting, and then you need to get out of the way of other enemies that aren't directly in front of you.
Sorry, do overtime.
I just noticed that my swords and nunchucks are starting to do rainbow colors now too.
Oh, huh.
What does that sound?
Oh, I just realized I've got the side splitters blades, so I'm using clown magic.
Oh.
Does that mean the flail? Did the flail get swapped out? It doesn't say. Must be like a God of War situation where you just get it equipped as a stacking upgrade.
This explains the music.
Wait, there's a zombie wedding.
Yeah, it's...
Oh.
Sometimes zombies fall in love too. You ever seen Wild Zero?
No. If that's an anime, odds are good. No, I pretty much have seen Urasawa's Monster, Moribito, and some Studio Ghibli.
It is not an anime. It is a live action Japanese rock and roll zombie comedy.
Oh my word.
Starring real life Japanese punk band Guitar Wolf. I highly recommend it if you get a chance to see it.
Holy shit, that is one wicked design. Sorry, I'm hearing it's just like they just brought out the siren from BioShock Infinite, but made her like 50 times more interesting to fight. Oh, so that's why you do the executions. It fills up your rage meter faster. Okay, that helps clear it up a bit. And yeah, the further we get into this, the more it's just like, yeah, this is giving me such Splatterhouse 2010 vibes, but with a lot more polish.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is the main thing. I'll tell you right now, if you ever play Splatterhouse 2010, that one you definitely play on the lowest difficulty. For no other reason than the last level, because for some reason at the last level, not the final boss fight, mind you, but a fight before the final boss fight is the hardest fight in the game. It is just like, essentially imagine 4 mini-bosses being spawned at once, and there's nowhere near enough bonus equipment to take them out. You essentially have to be damn near perfect. It's like the Trial of Poseidon in God of War Ascension.
Oh, huh.
Horror King, I answered your question about the park. I said I haven't played it yet. Oh my gosh.
Overloads your core and disables your arm abilities. Use your graphite polymer chain attacks to...
Oh boy. Now she has laser eyes.
Don't get up. I'll help myself.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. I can't, right, I need to hit the right mouse button. Oh. You can even defeat bosses even if you fail at the QuickTime event.
Don't look at me. Those were not my augments.
I'm speechless.
Science always comes with a body. I doubt she was the only one.
Because, like, I'm not kidding. When I chose this one for the second one, out of the options of ones you wanted to look at, I was like, yeah, this is a good one. We'll be able to have a little laugh at it a lot. And, like,
Yeah, that's why. That's the main reason I put it on the list. Is like, oh yeah, that sounds like some fun garbage.
Yeah, Tiger. They'll know where he is.
and here we are.
Yeah, I'll have to pick this up next time I see a Xbox 360 copy in a bargain bin.
Yeah, it's... Man. Yeah, that is the shame, though, is that it's never freaking well on sale on Steam anymore. Because, like, this is interesting. I still would not recommend someone spend $30 for this.
Yeah, no, I would not necessarily spend that much on this game, but I have a feeling I will run across it at some point at a used game store.
No doubt.
Slaughter.
I think the only time I've been more surprised by, like, a tie-in game was Cybertron Adventures on the Wii. That one's like, it essentially went, okay, so what if we just took out all the pretending that Gears of War, like, wants you to move around a lot, at least in the earliest ones, and it was instead, what if we just made it completely on rails? And it weirdly works. There's even, like, a combo multiplier like a bullet hell where the better you perform, the more ammo you unlock for all your guns. You're even getting the sniper rifle up to 3 shots per clip.
Oh, neat. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of unexplored space in on-rail shooters. I mean, you know, it's just one of the reasons I make a lot of, not necessarily fully on-rails, but, you know, semi-on-rail shooters.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is in itself one of those not well enough explored spaces of shooters that are on rails, but you can still sort of move around and dodge, sort of sin and punishment style.
Oh yeah, and that is a great style. It's always a delight when you can get a little bit of engagement from it.
Yeah. It's like every few years I get just the urge to do another one of those. Just take a little different angle on it.
So I have that dead zombie's fist now as a temporary weapon. I love that very fast campy dodge. Oh, it's the Blades of Chaos! You got, I'm just going full Kratos now.
They're running steamrollers. They can smash that wall. Just needs an operator.
Yeah, this did seem very God of War-ish. Which, I mean, I could see that being a one of the complaints people had with this game, is it because it is tying itself to Ninja Gaiden, which has a very, I mean, it's fast, but it's also heavy and deliberate sort of combat. And this definitely does not look either heavy or deliberate.
Yeah, it is very lithe, it is very fast. I love that the zombies are semi-intelligent too. They're just...
Yeah.
Okay, but... Alright, there's the nunchucks. No, it's fine, King. No one's...
Slaughter. Bloodbath.
The other thing that does make me wonder about the reception is we are playing on the easy difficulty, which is more like normal in most standard Western brawlers, so I'm wondering if we turned the difficulty up a notch, would we suddenly be going just through a rage fit of, oh my gosh, how did I die again? That could also be a factor.
Is this game, you know, does this game have enough there to justify the difficulty of a harder mode?
Yeah.
And I mean, also the other possibility is that you are currently playing on the PC half a decade or more after the game came out originally. Wait, when did this game come out?
It was like 2013, 2014. It was one of the last games on 7th Gen.
So, like, over half a decade. So, you might be playing a much more stable version than what originally came out.
That is very true. Goodness me, I remember when I was playing the Surge 2 for review, and it was so broken that, like, I found this one character build, and it's like, this is no longer a Souls-like. I was playing it more like this, and it just, I felt bad, because it's like, this is clearly not the state this game is meant to be played in. I'm told that they fixed it eventually. I have not gone back.
Yeah. I mean, that is the thing with, you know, our current era of being able to patch games, that the game you play a year or years after release could be significantly different from the one that came out at release.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for every aspect that can be a blessing, it's also hard to talk about games as a thing, because the thing that is the game, it changes by the year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember, because, like, some of the tie-in games I've looked at over the years, I've spoken to people who played them at launch, and they're like, yeah, you got lucky, like with the Star Trek game, or with Vampire Reign, where it's just like, once upon a time, mistakes were made. Okay, that's not the direction we want the pipe to go in, but... Or, no, maybe it is. Maybe it is the direction we want the pipe to go in.
Like that your character is just still running around while that cutscene for the pipe plays.
I feel like the water is... I'm supposed to be drawing the water over here, but... I'm not sure how to. Is there anywhere I can go over here? Yeah. And throwing him into the fire doesn't do anything.
Can you throw another one while
I'm trying.
while it's going?
I'm trying to. No, that doesn't work either. Because it seems like we're supposed to be drawing it over here.
Yeah, that seems like the obvious sort of what it's trying to get you to do.
Is there something I missed over here again?
Is there a way to get to the other side of it?
Doesn't seem to be. Is there some way to, like... No, it still just does that. And yeah, the fire hurts. Well, we've hit the first part of the game where it doesn't make sense, and considering that's almost an hour in, that's actually kind of impressive given... I think this game is only supposed to be like around 5 hours long at most.
Yeah, I looked on how long to beat, and it said like around 6, I think. Can you throw them from down below?
Let's see. Yes. I can't do it while parkouring. But, okay. Nope. Can't do it while jumping. There's something obvious. Okay, let's watch the camera perspective again. So it turns around. Is it a matter of force? No, it's holding it down doesn't shelter. And again, throwing into the fire doesn't do anything. Could you do me a favor and look up on YouTube?
Yeah, sure.
I'm really stumped here. We are in Old Town Level 2. Because, yeah, no, a bit...
Are you able to run over the water tower while the pipe is turned?
I can try to move that fast, but... doesn't seem to want to let me jump onto the thing.
What'd you say our current section is called again?
Old Town, it's level 2. We're about 20 minutes in, according to the game. Sorry, folks. Not sure what Spark Unlimited is trying to tell us. I'm gonna see if there's anything else to interact with, any kind of place to jump or whatever. What if I... There's a little notch over there. Oh my gosh, I figured it out.
Oh.
The little landing that you can only see if you walk over there, that's where you're supposed to go to throw it. Okay, so yeah, there are going to be some problems. Okay. So this game is going to at least somewhat live up to its reputation.
Hopping from rooftop to rooftop, committing violence, screaming like a madman. Reminds me of my salad days.
I honestly don't know why this style of action game feels the need to include rudimentary puzzles.
Yeah, because like, I remember in God of War Ascension, that was ironically one of the nicer things was, like, you know, the little thumbs up after he got his slight. Oh, that's adorable. But, yeah, nah, while it was always neat when it did work, I was always still filled with the sense of, okay, but this, no one really comes to something like Devil May Cry or God of War to prove that they're the brainiest person.
Yeah, and like, you know, that puzzles and action can go well together in an action adventure game, where that's kind of the flow of it, is that you're, you know, you are not always doing the same thing. But in a pure action game, puzzles just seem vestigial and just slow down the pace of the game, and like are rarely fun.
Yeah.
And even Gaiden has a few puzzles in it, and they feel so like tacked on.
Shame.
And like in God Hand, the puzzles you solve by punching things.
Slaughter.
Well, at least it's consistent.
Yeah, like at least there's that, but it's still like I there's like one puzzle in the game that I remember, and it's just like, why is this here? You just gotta punch a block into the right place.
Oh, you can set the clowns on fire. Oh, that's lovely. Child me that hated it as a thing is going to be so pleased. There are some neat combos. I do wish I could actually check them out so that I could memorize them. Because like that spinning, you know, windshield wiper thing was neat. What? I died by falling into a wall.
Well, I mean, you know, that's if you fall into a wall, that's gonna hurt.
Life comes at you fast.
Yeah.
Roof chops. Oh my gosh. Every single one of these puns is just A+. Everyone gets extra credit for that.
You lose.
Nunchucks.
Yeah, the nunchucks bring a whole new definition to quit hitting yourself.
I was about to say I really like the camera angles in this game up until the camera just shoved itself inside of a air conditioning unit.
It's funny you mentioned that because there's now a new idle zombie that's just trying to get his washing machine in his apartment. The poor guy.
Oh yeah.
I feel bad for him because it's like I know that feeling. I've tried to get a friggin' dishwasher installed. That was a long 2 weeks.
Incidentally, do you have control over the camera in this game?
Sometimes it's very
Okay.
selective.
I'm actually I like that. I think more action games should have fixed camera angles or semi-fixed camera angles. I think having the player control the camera can take away from a lot of action games, just because that then becomes another consideration you have to think about during combat.
And now we are apparently going to blow up a lingerie store.
Yeah.
Like you do. Not enough. We must need him for something else. More zombie-related puzzling. Oh! I get it. It's a Resident Evil reference, so I get... Oh, that's... Wow, that truck sound effect is loud. Subtlety is not Yaiba's strong suit.
Who's this bad fiery fuck?
Oh dear, it's another one of the priest things. Holy roaster.
He's ruining my fucking panty party.
I never thought I would hear someone say, I don't care who he is, he's ruining my fucking panty party. This stream is definitely getting, you know, the censor mark that, like, yeah, this one's not for kids.
Yeah.
I will say the music is also really solid. Like, I'm legitimately impressed by the nice variety to it all.
Nice.
It's got guitars, but there is some
Oh,
electro.
Actually, I know why. I noticed something when I was looking this game up on Wikipedia, which is that I think Grant Kirkhope did the music for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. His face is a mortar cannon. The
Well then.
zombie priest is the BFG. Yes, this game has problems, but it is also still just pure joy so often.
It's fully committing to whatever it is it's doing.
Yeah. I don't know if they knew this was going to be the last game by Spark Unlimited, but if they did, goodness me, they were just like, we are doing everything.
Go out with a bang.
Give me that.
Taste the rainbow!
Nice work. Now drop in and introduce yourself.
Hello, VidKid! Welcome to the stream. We're close to wrapping up our time with Yaiba, but oh my goodness, yes, just like... I think that's probably the thing that makes me most happy about this is, across 5 episodes now, we've not had a stinker yet. We had a little bit of a rough bit with Bunker Punks, but everything has hit it out of the park so far, and that just makes me so happy, because that means we're consistently highlighting just some great kick-ass games.
Yeah.
That,
There's just so many neat games out there, and it's hard to get to them all.
That's it. I apparently managed to clip through the geometry just the right spot that I died.
Oh well. Can't win them all.
It is still Yaiba.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really curious what the story pieces are about. Like, are they audio logs or what?
Yeah.
I mean, given how bonkers this game is, I can believe that they're like, you know what? We'll just put the story in the extras menu. You can read it if you want.
Yeah. I feel like the level of story that has existed in this game is the correct amount for a game like this.
There is a Dr. Frankenstein zombie with his own electric zombies.
Well, good. That's what we need.
Just, you know, he had an afterlife crisis. I did look at your comments, Horking, and you should be both proud and ashamed of yourself in equal measure. Hoguru would be cringing about now, and laughing at the same time. Oh my gosh, you combine the electric and the fire and they create fire tornadoes. That is... It is actually, like, legitimately beautiful looking, but also that is just utterly beautiful for the insane... Words fail me again, because just... I keep expecting the adrenaline to stop at some point and for, like, enemy combinations to start repeating, and they don't! Yeah, kicking my ass though. Getting a little overloaded with
You
electricity.
still have flashing parts, you know. When you're burning, dash forward to kick on embedded nano fans that will extinguish the flame.
Ooh, she is making my day hard. Oh, wait. There we go! Rage mode! Problem solved!
There's more where that came from.
Oh good, you save some rage meter if you finish in time. Good. Ah, well, I appreciate you tuning in, VidKid. I hope you've enjoyed this darkest timeline, where people did not appreciate the utter wonder that is Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z. That's been a thing with VidKid for a while. He used to tune in when I would be streaming things for Second Look, and he would always be like, oh yeah, choose the evil path, explore all the darkest timelines. We have zombies that are gamers playing in a game cafe.
Well, there you go.
This is just absolutely beautiful. But we are reaching the end of our stream. So,
Yeah.
Alec, is there anything you'd like to shout out about your own work that you'd like people to check out?
Sure, yeah. I have just, with the help of East Asia Soft, released one of my games on console. It's actually my second game to come to console. Thunder Kid just launched today, actually, on Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, the various
Xboxes?
current Xboxes. The Xbox One, Series X,
And S, yeah.
and S, yeah. Eventually, Eventually, it'll be impossible to keep track of what consoles currently exist. But yeah, Thunder Kid on consoles now, alongside one of my previous games, Breakneck City. Thunder Kid is a sort of 3D run and gun with a kind of fixed behind the back camera angle, kind of think sort of Crash Bandicoot camera angle, but with a run and gun combat.
Sort of a Mega Man gone fully 3D, but not in the Legend style. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Breakneck City is also on console. I released it originally on PC a couple years ago, but came to console a few months ago, and is a 3D beat 'em up. So check that out as well. I've also got a number of games on Steam. I release games under the banner of Renegade Sector Games. So if you search Renegade Sector on Steam, you should be able to find my games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff on there and over on itch as well.
And I'll personally shout out my favorite of his, which is Cold Vengeance. I highly recommend that one. That's how I found out about Alec's work, and it just is fantastic. The sheer amount of modifiers you can slap onto your character's gun to just create entirely new weapons. It's... But,
Well, thank you.
But thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next Wednesday, where we'll have a new guest, 2 new games, and plenty of new surprises. But yes, please feel free to also follow Alec on Twitter. His handle is right there beneath his avatar. And I will bid you all a lovely good evening.